When Officer Daniel Faulkner was killed, 3 simultaneous FBI investigations into the Philadelphia Police Department were taking place. One focused primarily on the Center City Division. This was the biggest police corruption case in history at the time. In 1982, more than 30 police from the Center City Division went to prison. A third of the officers that went to prison were involved in Mumia's arrest and prosecution. The 39th District corruption scandal came to nationwide attention in 1997. The Philadelphia Police Detective Special Narcotics Unit, or the 5 Squad as they were known, were corrupt and consistently brutalizing people. These officers also conducted unreported raids on known drug dealer houses and stole from suspects. 3 officers were dismissed from the department in 1991 for searching a known drug dealer's house without a warrant. Based on information provided by Pamela Jenkins, a prostitute junkie and longtime girlfriend of Thomas Ryan. By 1994, the FBI had enough circumstantial evidence of civil rights violations to approach the former officer Thomas Ryan. Ryan flipped on love of Pamela Jenkins, and due to the scandal, 1,400 cases were overturned or under review. By 1997, between 160 and 300 had been overturned and over 100 people had been released from prison. Jenkins later came forward and said she was paid $500 to say she saw Raymond Carter shoot Robert Harris from a distance of 3 feet by a group of Philadelphia Police Department officers, including Thomas Ryan. Because she had reversed her testimony in the Carter case, her testimony in Mumia's case was reevaluated as well. Jamal's lawyers produced an affidavit by Jenkins stating that Ryan had repeatedly pressured her to provide false testimony against Mumia and that the corroborating testimony by Cynthia White was also false. While Amnesty International does not take a position on guilt or innocence, the organization maintains that Jamal's original trial was tainted by politics, race, and failed to meet the international fair trial standards. Inadequate defense representation at trial, Black potential jurors were dismissed, the close political relationship between the Fraternal Order of Police and elected Penn officials, and the judge, who had close personal ties to law enforcement and was openly hostile toward the defense. Terry Moore Carter, court stenographer for the 1982 trial, said in the 2001 affidavit, Judge Sabo said, "I'm going to help them fry the N-word." Generally speaking, most people are under no legal obligation to report a crime, whether they knew about it in advance, witnessed its commission, or found out about it after the fact. Which means William Cook is under no legal obligation to say he knows anything about the shooting other than he himself did not take part. In 1994, it was proved that the district attorney's office withheld evidence that a driver's license application or permit was found in Faulkner's shirt pocket, proving that there was another person at the scene. Who did the permit belong to? It belonged to Arnold Howard, another friend of the Cook family. Howard said he loaned the ID to Kenneth Freeman. Cynthia White picked Freeman out of a lineup as the man she saw get out of the car at the site of the shooting. At 3:51 a.m., Officer Daniel Faulkner radioed the following words verbatim. "I have a car stopped, 12, 13th and Locust. Carter back, 612, 13th Locust. On second thought, send a wagon, 1234 Locust." Asking for a wagon is more consistent with it being more than one suspect on the scene, because if not, he wouldn't have asked for a wagon. Kenneth Freeman, the passenger in William Cook's car, is almost certainly one of Officer Faulkner's killers. But a man by the name of Arnold Beverly claims in a sworn affidavit that there were two killers hired.
My name is Arnold Beverly. I'm here to depose to the foregoing, and I'm willing to depose at any time in any courtroom of law. I, Arnold Beverly, say that the following facts are true and correct. I was present when Officer Daniel Faulkner was shot and killed in the early morning hours of December 9, 1981, near the corner of 13th and Locust Street. I have personal knowledge that Mumia Abu-Jamal did not shoot Officer Daniel Faulkner. In fact, I was hired, along with another guy, and paid to shoot and kill Officer Daniel Faulkner. I had heard that Faulkner was a problem for the mob and the corrupt policemen because he interfered with the graft and the payoff made to allow illegal activities, including prostitution, gambling, drugs, without prosecution in the Center City area. Faulkner was shot once in the back, then in the face, before Jamal came onto the scene. Again, Jamal had nothing to do with the shooting of Officer Faulkner. Before the shooting, I was given a picture. I was given a picture of Faulkner. I was told that he would be around Locust Street to check something out at Johnny D's bar in the early morning hours of December 9th. Two of us were hired for the shooting so that either of us could take the opportunity to make the hit, get the job done, and leave. The other guy gave me a .38 caliber policeman special. I also was carrying my own .22 caliber revolver. I was waiting at the speed line entrance northeast corner of 13th and Locust Streets at the parking lot. I was wearing a green camouflage jacket. The other guy was at the south side of Locust Street, east of 13th Street, near Kamak. While I was waiting at the speed line for Faulkner to arrive on the location, I saw police officers in the area. Two undercover policemen were standing on the west side of 13th Street. Also, a uniformed officer was sitting in a car at the parking lot. They were there while the shooting of Faulkner took place. I was not worried about the police there, since I believed that since I was hired by the mob to shoot and kill Faulkner, any police officer that was there were there to help me and protect me. After a while, I saw Faulkner get out of a small police car behind a VW parked on Locust Street, east of 13th. Faulkner was alone. He got out of the police car and went up to the VW. I heard a shot ring out from east on Locust Street. Faulkner fell to one knee on the sidewalk next to the VW. I heard another shot, and it must have grazed my left shoulder. I felt something on my left shoulder. I grabbed at my shoulder and got blood on my hands. I ran across the street, stood over top of Faulkner, and shot him in the face at close range. Jamal was shot shortly after that by a uniformed police officer who arrived on the scene. Cop cars came from all directions. Foot patrol also arrived. I saw a white shirt, brass, getting out of a car in the middle of 13th Street. just as I was going down the speed line steps. I left the area underground through the speed line system, and by prearrangement, a police officer who assisted me when I exited the speed line underground about 1 block away, a car was waiting for me, and I left the Center City area.
William Cook went to court in March on assault charges stemming from the fight with Faulkner. Prosecutor witness Cynthia White was asked who was present. She stated William Cook, Officer Faulkner, Mumia, and a passenger who fled from the scene wearing a green army jacket. Weeks later at Mumia's trial, the exact same prosecutor, Joseph McGill, asked the exact same woman, Cynthia White, how many men were present at the scene. And she said only 3, Mumia, Faulkner, and William Cook. The only real reason to suppress information about Kenneth Freeman is if they, meaning the police, had already pre-planned to kill Kenneth Freeman. On December 14, 1981, the newsstand that Freeman owned but housed William Cook's inventory was burned to the ground, and the newspaper article insinuated that it was burned to the ground by the police. On May 13, 1985, Freeman was found dead. He was naked and he was handcuffed in a vacant lot in Philadelphia. Some say he died of a drug hot shot. The official cause of death is a heart attack. The Philadelphia Inquirer lists Freeman's death as being from natural causes. Witness Desi Hightower saw 8 or 9 officers surround Jamal and more than 4 hit him with nightsticks. 3 or so kicked him. Dr. Anthony Coletta testified that the suspect had lacerations on his forehead and swelling on his lip and on his eye. The police allegedly planned to take Mumia straight to jail and not to the hospital, despite the fact of him being shot in the chest. And only after being told to take him to the hospital was he taken. He still didn't arrive for another 15 minutes, despite the hospital literally being 2 blocks away on 11th and Locust Street. This is Officer James Ford holding not only Faulkner's gun, but Mumia's gun, which is the alleged murder weapon, with his bare hands. Is this an attempt to smudge fingerprints left by whoever pulled Mumia's gun out of his holster? Faulkner only had time to place his hat on the car, or it came off his head after he was shot. But in all of these photos, Faulkner had already been shot, so the hat should only be in one place. Every bullet not in Faulkner should be in the ground, but the ground around Faulkner where he was shot is smooth. Robert Troward testified he parked his taxi behind Faulkner's patrol car, and he saw Mumia stand over Faulkner and his hand jerk back and forth. But when you look at the crime scene photos, you can see there is no taxi present. From start to finish, this entire case has been a miscarriage of justice. Mumia is a worthy scapegoat in a case that is steeped in police corruption, mishandling of evidence, and blatant discriminatory practices. There are 2 victims in this story. Officer Daniel Faulkner conducted a routine traffic stop, which altered or set in motion random or pre-planned events that ultimately took his life and to a certain extent took Mumia's life as well.